Hello and welcome to C40I's North of Ordinary podcast. We have a lot of extraordinary people in the Hull and Humber region, and today's guest is no exception. He wasn't born here, he wasn't brought up here, but we really have adopted him as one of our own. Because what he did at Hull City was totally unique. And something that's probably never going to be replicated. I'm talking about former Tigers captain and now businessman, Ian Ashbee. Ian, thank you for joining me today.
Hi, Tina. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
Good.
Now, it's nearly, I'll get right into it. It's nearly 25 years ago since you came to Hull. You signed on the dotted line. There must have been other offers on the table. What was it about the club or the city that made you think this is for me?
Yeah, there was a few offers. Oxford came in, QPR came in. They were a higher level at the time. But I came to Hull, went to the old Boothry Park. Adam Pearson was the chairman at the time. And, you know, he had big plans for it. The stadium was about a year away from being finished off, so we could start playing there the season after. Adam Pearson's, you know, Jan Molby was the manager. Who everybody knows what a good player Jan Molby was. So they were the kind of things that initially got me really interested. You know, having come up here a couple of times, meeting a few people in and around the area, I felt at home straight away. To be fair, and it's a reason why I chose it. I like the area, the people who I'd met early on were great. So for me, it was a no-brainer just to come here and settle down.
Excellent, but you didn't start your first game quietly, did you? It was in true Ashbee fashion. You got sent off, didn't you?
Yeah.
And when you left the pitch that day, were you thinking, well, if I'm remembered for nothing else, at least they'll remember me for this?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I was quite, as I was younger, as most youngsters are, I think in football and trying to find your way, you're a little bit hot-headed. You always want to try and make a bit of a stance on your first kind of game to sort of show what you're about moving forward. So yeah, I got sent off, which wasn't great. And then when you do get sent off, you then, once the red mist has gone, you start to panic, thinking, "Oh my God, what have I done here? Are you still going to have a job in the next couple of weeks?" But yeah, it was. You know, I think the club needed something like what I had. Jan Molby brought me in to be that kind of guy, really. So you know, I got sent off. It wasn't the first time. It definitely wasn't the last time that I got sent off in my career.
Because it happened at the first game at the
new stadium.
Yeah.
I think that is a pub quiz question. I was the last person to get sent off at Boothry Park and the first to get sent off at the was it the KC Stadium then? Sorry, yes. The KC Stadium. So yeah, it's a pub quiz question in and around Hull. But yeah, it's people remember it and remind me quite often, to be honest.
But you are remembered for more than just being sent off, aren't you?
I hope so.
For what you did achieve. It was totally unique, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I think probably more so after you retire, you think about it more and you look back on reflection and think what I did achieve was quite unique. And will it ever be done again? Who knows? You know, if it is, it is. But it's something I'm extremely proud of. And, you know, to do it, it was always one of them things for me within football that every season we got promoted, I was never going to be good enough to get to that next level, but I proved everyone that I was good enough. So, you know, it was really unique and I'm really glad I did it at Hull, to be fair. And
you really did become a fan's favourite because of that.
Yeah, I did. I think Hull is a working class city. I think my style as a player is basically hard graft. I wasn't the most technical of players, but I wore my heart on my sleeve. I was passionate. I cared about results. I cared about the city. I worked extremely hard. I had a good set of skills, and you know, I just tried to do them skills that I did have the best possible as I possibly could. I didn't try and be anybody I wasn't. So just the work ethic, really, for me, was what I was good at, what I had, and you know, it was needed in the team. I wasn't out there scoring goals left, right, and centre, or taking people on with loads of skills. But it was one of them ones. Every team needs one, and I was that guy here.
And did being a captain change you as a player or a person?
Yeah, I think I evolved with it. I think I was a young kid. you know, I'd come to a big club. I'd seen it as a big club. It wasn't. I'd been at Cambridge United before. You know, they're a great club, but they get 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 fans every week. We were getting 10,000, 15,000. So there's expectation. It was going to be always difficult, but there was a bit of expectation here. So I took it on board really.
And was the pressure that came with that additional to not being the captain, really?
Yeah. I mean, I was one of them kind of kids that I wasn't really bothered what people said to me on the pitch or off the pitch. It was like I had a thick skin growing up from the States and where I was in Birmingham. It was one of them, I had that in my locker to not kind of worry too much. You know, I understand it can affect people, and I think today even more so in the game. But, you know, when I was here and when you first start, the pressure's massive, of course, because it's a big football club, and you have to achieve. They want to achieve, and you know, we'd moved to the new stadium, so the pressure was there. But I was okay with it. It didn't really bother me. I had a thick skin, like I said, and I kept on. If any of the lads were having a bad time, I would take a little bit of pressure off them, and I would try and take that on board. If there was ever going to be any difficult interviews after, I would always try and say I'd take that, no problem, and try and take that away from other lads who are maybe not as, I don't even know what the word would be for me, but you know, not as capable of taking criticism. Because I think as a captain, you have to take some kind of criticism. Yep. You know, you're leading the team, and you know, for me though, it drove me on to be that captain to know that I'm having to answer to people that I'm meeting in the streets day to day.
But it must be, if you're absorbing everybody else's pressure as well, it must be like mentally all-consuming.
Yeah, it was. It's well, I'm assuming it still is. It's just, I think that was my part to add to the team, as well as running around booting people and trying to break up play and be a bit disruptive against other teams. I think that was what I signed up for, to be that person, to take on that role. And you know, over 10 years, 9.5 years, and I don't know how many managers, I kind of did take that role on. So, and I'm okay with it, really.
Could you switch off?
No, you can't. I never switched off. I think you can switch off at the end of the season for when you get 2 or 3 weeks off, 4 weeks off. But yeah, it's kind of always in the back of your mind. As much as you say you're switching off, you know, you play on a Saturday, you have a game on a Tuesday, you think you're going to have a switch off on a Sunday, but I don't think you ever do, really. You go home, you take it home with you, and you know, the missus, the kids, everyone gets it in the neck if you've lost, and if you've won, it's just try and keep everything on an even keel. So I couldn't really switch off, to be fair.
And if you did lose on a Saturday, did that get carried over into the next week?
It got carried over because you'd always have a meeting on the Monday to discuss things, to try and iron a few things out. So, excuse me, it always carried on, but the games were coming thick and fast, so you can't really be holding on to negative thoughts and comments from the weekend on a Saturday when you're playing on a Tuesday. So once you'd had your debrief, put it to bed, say what you've got to say. We're in a room full of men. You know, we used to keep it all in-house, you know, and move on to try and win the next game on a Tuesday. And
did football ever stop being enjoyable and more about the pressure?
No. That's pressure's just part of it, isn't it? You know, you got to deal with that. It was always that boyhood dream of becoming a professional footballer, and it was always be the same when I was 15 and 35. You still love the game that you're playing, and you know, that's what you wanted to do as a kid.
And when did you realise that football wasn't just what you did; it was who you are? I think when you go through the kind of the age groups, and you know, you get to 15, you then get taken on as an apprentice. You know, for me as an apprentice, you've not really made it. You know, you get your first, second year pro, third year pro. Unless you're making 20, 30 games a season, you're still not quite there, in my opinion. But when you become a bit of a 30 to 40 game a season player, then I think that's, you know, when it really matters, and you can sort of say, yeah, I'm a footballer now, and I've got to a level of that kind of playing first team football continuously, season after season. You know, you're a bit of a hardened pro. So that was when I kind of realised that. Did the supporters shape any part of who you were, your game, or how you reacted?
Yeah, I mean, I said from the start that I came in the old third division or second division, I can't remember what it was. And when we got promoted, you know, it was always a question mark above my head whether I was good enough to step up to the next level. But I used it as a fuel, to be fair, for me to work harder, to work on myself individually, work on myself being better within the group of players as well. So it was, it was difficult, but, fans will always be fans. Some are going to have good opinions of you. Some are not going to have good opinions of you. You've got to really take it all with a pinch of salt, if I'm being honest. I'm a fan of football now, and I still say the same things that people are saying to me. So it is what it is. It's a great game, and, it's the biggest in the world. So just have to take it on board and deal with it as best you possibly can.
Because you're still involved with the club now, aren't you? Because your son plays for City now. How hard is that for Stan? Is there added pressure because of who you are?
Yeah, for him, it's tough for me to look at my son, to have to deal with the fact that I achieved what I achieved, and I was that kind of person. I feel terrible that he has to deal with that pressure. So that's with me constantly. He's done it all on his own. I can't make him become a good footballer. He's going to become his own little man. I stay out the way of it all really now, because I don't really do interviews. I don't really go on TV. I don't really do too much, because I feel like I had my time. And I feel like if I'm putting myself out there, especially at Hull, that'll be adding even more pressure. My time's happened, been good. I enjoyed it, great, but it's his time now and other people's time. So just sit in the background. If anybody needs anything, yes, you can have any advice, any help you need. 100%, I'll be there for any of them. But certainly for Stan, we've got a great relationship, and I still feel guilty that I've kind of put him in a place that he didn't really want. But he is where he is, and he's dealing with it okay.
And he's enjoying his football.
He loves it. Yeah, he really is dedicated to it. He's way fitter, and they look after themselves way better than we ever did back in the day. He's certainly dedicated, and he lives the life 100%. Yeah.
Because nowadays you've got nutritionists, you've got psychologists, you've got everybody around you to make you get you fitter for the next game, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
you didn't have that back in the 70s when you were playing.
70s. Please, bloody hell. I've got a grey beard, but yeah. No, it is 2000. Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's the game's evolved. When I first started football at Derby County, we used to have They used to have drinking clubs on a Tuesday, and a blooming Friday, Saturday after the game, you'd have to drink, or it was sin like that. And then through my career, I was really lucky that towards the end of it, we were given urine samples and iron tests every day as you were going into the training ground. So it's evolved, and rightly so, because it's such a high performance sport. It needed to go that way.
Yeah.
There is a lot of people that are there for the kids these days to help in anything they need. And it's right for the game of football, to be fair.
Excellent. Talking about finishing football and such like, nobody really, follows up after the last game kind of thing about what happens with Ian Ashbee.
Oh, when you retire?
Yeah. Then. Did you know it was your last game when you played?
Yeah, I knew in my head. I knew I couldn't do what I was doing previous years. You kind of do know. I think if you're honest, listen, I got to 35 years of age, so for me it was enough.
It was a good stint.
Good stints, yeah. I did a few clubs, and it was a good stint. I've gone through I'd had a terrible injury, a bit of adversity, so yeah, there was lots of factors with it all. But once you kind of think it's your last training session or your last game, yeah, it's difficult after that to then kind of find, well, where's the routine coming from? What's happening next? Was there things in place then when I retired to kind of help? I don't think there probably was, or maybe I didn't take them as serious as I should have done, or maybe they actually wasn't there.
Did you have a plan?
Not really. There wasn't any kind of plan. I think that stems from basically growing up, though. We were them kids on the estates that were booting balls against fences. If I told people I was going to be a footballer, everyone would be, of course you will be. Like everybody, other kid on the estate wants to be a footballer. I lost my dad at a very early age, so I never had any guidance from that kind of side of things. For me now, it'd be really difficult. There's a lot more people in place, agents and stuff They're all vetted way better, and there's a lot more things in place from PFAs and the powers that be that do help the lads these days. But I think there's an element of many years ago where it wasn't quite there, and a lot of the lads I know, and not a lot of lads, but a lot of lads across the board have struggled in one way or another, and
because how do you replace it has structure, it has purpose, it gives you adrenaline.
Yeah, you can't replace it. It's really difficult to say to somebody like yourself who's never actually done it, or somebody who has never actually played football. How do you replace that? You can't. It's impossible. There's no way to replace it. There's nothing else like it. And to just have that taken away, it's not taken away. You know it's coming, but still, the reality of waking up that morning knowing that you're not going to go in, you're not going to see the kit man, your kit's not waiting. You're having dinner with the lads, you're going out in the training pitch, having a bit of banter. To then all of a sudden wake up and go, right, that's not happening now. The routine, for me personally, I needed that routine, day in, day out, to kind of keep me on an even keel and keep me level with stuff. Really difficult.
Did you feel a bit lost?
Lost, 100%, yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, I've only really felt okay in the last few years, and I retired a few years ago. It's a lot to take on board. Sometimes I could have probably gone and got a little bit of help maybe with certain stuff like that, but obviously I'm one of the stiffer lip ones who kind of like, it'll be all right, everything's going to be fine, which it is, but it still could have been probably managed slightly better from my point of view.
What help was there out there? Did you know?
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't really go and find any kind of any help, or how do you manage your life day to day after that?
As a footballer, you're always told what to do, where to go, what to eat.
Of course, and I love that routine of it. Yeah, I loved it. I love being told where to go, what time your meeting is. I love that kind of repetition. It made me focus. But like I said, to then wake up in the morning and go, what am I doing? You can only go to the gym so many times, can't you? It becomes boring because you go to the gym, yeah, great, but then you have nothing at the end of the week, which is a battle on a Saturday afternoon at 3:00. That's what you're ultimately waiting for, and ultimately that's just taken away from you straight away.
That's a bit tough, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, but it's part and parcel of where we are and what we do. There's way tougher things in life, I think.
Could the PFA have done more too?
Yeah, they probably did have things in place, so they said.
But you just didn't seek them out?
Yeah, I didn't seek it, or you don't get. I think people could make more of an effort to actually reach out to the individuals to sort of see if everything's good and what's. But then I suppose you're a grown man at the end of the day, 35 years of age. You're expected to already know how to behave. But if you think you've been, I like to call it mollycoddle since you've been the age of 16, 17, 18, because once you enter that sport, then everything is done for you, like you say. There's people in the office, in the back rooms that are looking after everything. If you move to a new club, they're looking after they're finding houses for you, they're finding this for you. There's people getting your cars. You kind of there's a big, massive cotton wool wrapped around you, and then all of a sudden that is sliced away, and you're kind of in the big bad world. Some deal with it better than others, and some don't. And there's a load of people out there that we all probably know and that haven't dealt with stuff really well. So it needs to be looked at. I think there's probably loads of sports are similar, but it can certainly be made better for sure.
Didn't fancy staying in the sport in some way, management, coaching?
I did at first, but I think once I'd had Stan, as I said, I'd lost my dad at a really early age, and no one ever took me to the games. No one ever took me to training. I kind of had to make my own way there, or people would pick me up. I wasn't from a football family or background, so when I had Stan and he was starting early doors to show a few signs of like 7, 8 years of age, I kind of wanted to take him training.
Yeah.
I wanted to have a bit of time with him, and 3 or 4 nights a week up at the academy for a few hours was perfect. I probably fell asleep in the car most of the time, but I thought at least he knew I was sort of sat there anyway.
Did you see that, Dad? Oh,
yeah. I told him he trained brilliant every time I was up there. So yeah, it was. I wanted to stay in maybe, but I think I chose to give Stan maybe something I never had because I thought it would help along the way. Whether it has or not, I don't know, but that was just my choice with it all, really.
Excellent.
But I miss it now these days. Now he's growing up and stuff, I do miss it. So
there's always that.
You never know, Tina, do you? You never know.
That opportunity
to
true. Dip your toe back in.
Yeah, and I do a little bit with bits and bobs up at Hull, but I'm in the area and I love the football club. So you never know. One day, you never know.
But now you're a businessman.
Yeah, I don't know about that either. But yeah, I'm trying to find my way.
How did that feel?
I mean, I went when I retired. I went straight. I had, I think, about 6 months a year, and I just thought I'm gonna have to do something here. And I walked straight into Blows Jewellers in town in Hull, and then I started taking watches and diamonds around to all the football lads at the big clubs while they were training. I was setting up, and it was great.
Just in your Tesco
Just in my
carrier
little
bag?
Tesco carrier bag, and I had a big Mac on, so there you go. Like a lucky man, there you go. So yeah, I went into something like that, and Blows were great with me and give me a little bit of an insight into stuff, but it was kind of, I always knew I needed to do something a bit different than that. So yeah, it's a big bad world again, you know, not had any experience, not had any guidance, kind of trying to fumble your way through that kind of thing, you know. I'm not saying I never went to school, I went to school, but you know, it was as it was years ago. It was never quite. I was never kind of worried, or you know, I never went to school all the time, so it was really difficult, that kind of stuff. You know, I've just been a little toe rag, to be fair.
And is there anything transferable from football?
Yeah, I think there's loads. I think the discipline. I think, you know, the routine is great. If even now with the emails and the phone calls, if I don't achieve doing them in that day, I will not rest on an evening at all. If I don't get them done, and I know that during the day, if I can't complete what I'm supposed to have done, then it sits on me quite heavily, you know, through the evening or into the next day. And there's loads of qualities that, you know, as a footballer you can use and bring into that kind of business world, I think.
And was building a business locally important to you? Because after you've left City, you could have moved away out of Hull.
There was loads of. I could have gone back to Birmingham, or the wife's from London. We were going to go back there. There's a few things going on there, but I just felt settled.
And with Stan and
and the kids were born in Hull. I just felt settled here. You know, I don't know how to explain it. It just kind of, you know, they've taken me in as an honorary Yorkshireman now, even though I've got a Brummie twang. Yeah. You know, so I just felt settled, and I felt safe, and I felt welcomed. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? And for me, that was a big part of once I retired, sort of staying here, and you know, trying to make another life, if you want, in Hull, and not just be remembered for football, as much as it will always be my main thing. I'd still like to try and do something within the area, within business, that you can also be remembered for from another side of your, you know, from your work. So I'm working towards that. I think I can offer a lot in terms of that, and are offering a lot at the minute. So we'll wait and see.
So what are you doing at the moment then?
We've got a business supplies company, basically. Anything from pens, paper, office fit outs, PPE, workwear, all sorts. But you know, I do a lot with schools. You know, we're trying to get a circular thing going where we can offer some stuff back to the community with schools. I do go and do a lot of talks in schools, offer a load of you know, a load of incentives for kids at schools, in the academies. We're just growing that now. You know, and I'm part of the Tigers Trust, which I have been for a number of years, really. But you know, I want to try and take that on a little bit further if I possibly can. You know, as I said, my kids are kind of gone now. They're on their own a little bit, and you know, so I need to do something. And if I can keep putting stuff back into Hull, which gave me so much, then it does make me look in the mirror at night and think, right, you're achieving something and helping other people.
So that excites you, what you're building?
Really excites me. Yeah, it really excites me that I can, excuse me, make a difference for one or two kids, whatever. You know, when I was growing up, there was certain individuals who used to take me to football when I couldn't get to football, and I've never forgot them people. So if you can make a difference on even one or two people's lives, I think it helps you inside a little bit. It certainly helps me anyway.
Well, especially giving back to the schools and such like.
Yeah, it is, because it's tough. We know it's tough. It's getting tougher out there. You know, and to speak to some of them and sort of say, I know where you are, I know what you're doing, I know where you come from, I know how it is. You know, when you're speaking to them, they just look at you as if to say, you don't know what you're on about. But then when you actually do dive into it and have a chat with them, and you can see them when they're playing football, you can see who's got a little bit about them, and you can see ones who are. And I think the captain's role helped me kind of, you know, decipher them kind of things with. Some people need an arm around them. Some people need a little bit of a bit of a chat and saying, "Come on, book your ideas up." There's loads of little things that I've learned from football that help me when you're in and around the area. So to give a little bit back, I think is perfect. I really do, and it excites me a lot to do that.
Excellent. And you're looking forward to what the Humber Business Group brings you?
Yeah, I am. It's growing. We're growing pretty rapidly, to be fair. I'm learning loads. Even I'm not the greatest on computers and spreadsheets and whatnot, but I'm getting better. I'm willing to learn. And I'm one of them kids that's got a bit of a brain that won't let me kind of fail. I need to, if something's happening, I need to know what's going on. I need to work it out, and I'll work it out in my own time. It might take me a lot longer, but I'll certainly work it out in the end. So, I'm really happy where we are. We've started it really slowly, really organically. It's growing nicely, and to be able to give back. And exactly what we are doing, and when I was with the guys from there, and we agreed on this, it really it resonated with me, and it was a no-brainer for me really, just to get straight into it and crack on as good as we can.
Excellent. Just going to ask some quick fire questions now.
Come on then.
Come on. Who was the most likely to start an argument about absolutely nothing? Why
Probably me, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, probably. Does that surprise you?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, it probably was, because I was so on it. Like, if I was in the changing room, if somebody left the socks inside out and just chucked them, I would just go, would you do that at home? You wouldn't do it at home. We've got a kit man who's got to pick up 30, 40 people's sweaty pants, smelly socks. Why has he got to turn your socks inside out? Put them in the pile. Do you know what I mean? I just never missed a trick in and around changing rooms and, on a coach and stuff. I just, like, that admin side of stuff did me head in, and I just, it was all, the lads were genuinely pretty good.
Yeah.
But sometimes them are the kind of things, it's all right, it's only a sock inside out. Well, no, it's not, because that means the kit man has to then go and put his hand inside your sweaty foot and pull it back out. So, yeah, just do it properly. So me.
Excellent. Yeah. Talking of the coach, the one you'd never sit next to on a coach trip. One person. Why?
Probably Jimmy Bullard. Just wouldn't start twitching. Just so when you're trying to concentrate, trying to focus, and he's just talking, and he's, you know what I mean. Everyone was different. I was one of them. Once it's an hour and a half before kickoff, just stay out my way. Leave me alone. Really? Yeah, leave me alone. Let me just get in my own little zone. So then when you've got people pecking in your head or flicking around, and he likes to have the banter before the games, and I was just somebody like him. I just try and avoid and get out of the way of, to be honest.
Another one here. Who had the strangest pre-match routine that you came across?
I don't think it was anyone who's strange, really.
Really? No,
not really. I think a couple of them used to put the left sock on first, or there was a couple who used to be sick before the games and just out of nerves. And yeah.
Did you have anything?
Nah, never had nothing, nah. I mean, I used to see magpies used to do me head in. I don't know why they still do me head in now, because I used to think, if we ever see what we've lost, I mean, you know what I mean? But I never had any kind of superstitions, but a lot of the lads did have kind of the same things. They used to write stuff on their hands or put some stuff down the socks, or just like little things that they needed to get them through a game. And if you need it through a game, crack on with it. Whatever makes you happy, whatever makes you perform as well as you can, do it.
What's the most Hull fan thing that's ever happened to you? Has anybody ever had a tattoo of your name on them, or named the kids after them? Or?
Yeah, I've got somebody named after me. He's called Ashbee, yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, his mum wrote to, I think it was Take a Break, one of them coffee time magazines, and told them that she'd named her son after me. And to be fair, she used to come to the training ground, and the lads were adamant that it was mine. But she used to come down. I used to see him. I've seen him around town actually every now and again. So
he got dark hair and a grey beard
and massive ears. Yeah, yeah. So somebody has called me out. I've signed a few boobs in my time, Tina. Oh yeah, around town. I've signed a few with them before. So
that's not on match days. Just any
random nights
Tesco's.
Out. Yeah, stuff like that. Tesco's, stuff like that. Mainly on nights out. After, obviously, that was many years ago, by the way. Yeah. So
excellent. The biggest football lesson that you learned?
You've got to be honest to the sport. You can't not live the life. You can't flip between having your life like that. Whatever you want to do, go and do this, go out, whatever. You have to put your whole soul into into football. Whatever level you find yourself at, we all have a level in life, we all have a level of sport, whatever. You've just got to put your whole soul and mindset into it to achieve. You know, I can't stand if people... I've seen loads of lads who had loads of quality, probably more quality than me, but they never had attributes that I had. And if they had them attributes inside them, they'd have gone way higher. And it pains me to just give everything you've got. And if it's not good enough, then at least you can say, I've give everything, and I didn't quite meet that level. Everyone would accept that. But if you haven't put the full soul into it and done the right things, and you don't achieve, then that's on you a little bit. And that really does annoy me when I see that happen, and it happens loads and loads within sport, really.
Because it is only a short
period of time, yeah. A short period of time. You every young man wants to become a footballer, or at some point has said they want to become a footballer. So when you get the chance, just give it everything you've got.
Because your dream came true with that.
My dream came true, yeah. But I look at it now and think I never thought anything other than I'm going to be a footballer. But that doesn't mean you're going to be one. But what I'm saying to you is, if you give everything but you fall short, that's okay. Do you know what I mean? But if you haven't give everything and you fall short, then you have to take a little bit of responsibility for not achieving what you should have achieved and what your ability should have achieved, and that's really frustrating.
Yeah. The biggest business lesson that you've learned?
To listen, to be calm, because in the football environment, I'm already ready to kind of have an argument or back my side of stuff, or it's very volatile at certain points because the emotions are so high, so low. But in the business world, I think taking a breath,
before
you actually react. I'm always one of them kids that just wants to, even when I was playing, to kind of, all right, something's going to happen, something's going to go wrong. Let's try and work out how we can make it better. But obviously, in sport, it's very 30 men in the change room trying to listen to everybody. It's always going to end up one way, and it normally did arguments and blah, blah, blah. But in business, I think it's really more, I need to be more calm, which I think I am being more calm. Take a breath, take a chill pill with stuff, and, listen more than talking at people. Listen to people first and see how we can move forward with it all, really. If there's any issues, or if people are trying to help you, just take it all on board.
What makes you happiest now?
I really like to see people doing well.
Mm-hmm.
I think I haven't given a gift, but I was given a life that loads and millions of people would love to have done. And when somebody's really, really happy in what they've achieved, I like to see that on people. And I love fishing. I love catching a fish too.
When was the last time you caught something?
Oh, it's been about a week ago, to be fair. I've got some pictures, you'll see them.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Was it big, or was it?
It's a big one.
Was it?
No, it's a big one, Tina. I'll show you later.
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
So what does success look like for you today?
I just want to feel content, really.
Yeah.
I'm not a material person. I don't really care if someone's got a Ferrari or someone's got a van. I'm not bothered about them kind of things. It's not a life I've ever been from. It's not been my main motivator. So, just try and be content, try and make a success of the second half of my life, like I think I did in the first half of my life. To kind of be able to look in that mirror when there's nobody else about and feel like you've been all right. You do know every time if you've done something wrong, or you haven't done as well as you could have done because of my actions, then you do know when you're on your own in that cold light of day and looking in that mirror, that mirror never lies. So I want to look in that mirror and just know that I made a success of the second part of my life as well as I did the first.
Excellent. So who is Ian Ashbee now then? Is he ex-footballer? Is he businessman? Or
Yeah,
is he just Ian?
I think I don't take myself so seriously. I know what I achieved, like I said earlier. I don't take it so serious. Like it was great. It's football. It's part of your life, but kind of get over it. Like, I don't need people to like be patting me on the back. I don't need to be. I don't need the adulation from it all. Like I said, it's other people's turns now. The younger generation. Let them crack on. So I'm just, trying to work through learning a new set of skills, really. And when that does land and I feel better about it all, it'll make me more content.
And if football, you mentioned a bit there. If football was chapter 1, what do you want chapter What do you want to be remembered for chapter 2?
I think chapter 2, just being a successful person who has given back to a town and a city that took me in, all them years ago. And if I can help as many people as I can in and around the area, I definitely will feel more content than what I do now.
Excellent. Ian, thank you so much
Cheers
for
to
joining me
you.
today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you for listening, everybody. Check out North of Ordinary wherever you usually download your podcasts, and don't forget to subscribe. See you again soon.